Welcome friends to Farm Fresh Designs 59. In today's video, I have several Santa DIYs and I'm excited to share them with you today. My first project is a frame that I actually was using for something else, but I wanted to use it for this video. So I took the glass out and the picture out, and my husband actually helped me cut these pieces so that I could turn it into a window. Because it's about 11 by 14 and I did not have any smaller windows in my stash. So I get all of those glued in with Tight Bond Thick and Quick. And actually one of them was just a really small edge, too short, but I didn't have the heart to tell my husband. So I took some air dry clay and glued it to the end, and then that way it added up for that little teeny difference to make that last piece fit. So I'm doing a heavy dry brush on this frame with Rust-Oleum linen white chalk paint. Now this is a piece of decoupage paper from Decoupage Central, and this one is the smaller size of this paper, and there's also a larger size of this paper. So I only want the Santa, and so I'm just cutting all around the edges of this decoupage paper so I can just isolate the picture of Santa. And initially I wanted his hands to show, but as time went on and I was working on this project, I decided to just cut off at his hands. So if you're new to my channel, my name is Myra, and welcome to Farm Fresh Designs 59. So I was going to glue him into this. I replaced the glass now. So I was going to glue him in, and I was going to have his hands hanging over the side. And then as time went on, I thought, well, that's a little bit creepy. So I decided to cut it off so that he's just kind of peeping in the window. And I just glue it down with school glue, the little stick glue, because I may want to use this for later on. So on the other 3 panes of this pretend window in this frame, I'm using the stamps in the new release called Vintage Snowflakes. And I didn't have any white ink, so I just took some white paint and put it on like a piece of aluminum foil, and I used my brayer to run over those stamps and put it on it. And then I tapped it really gentle because I didn't want it to smear at all. And on this second one, I actually messed up, but because it was paint, it made it really easy to kind of wipe it back and to redo it. And I did that on 2 of the windows, and then I started on that 3rd pane. Now, these are some resin molds from the new IOD mold called Bibelots. And I painted them white, and I put Rust-Oleum clear sealer on it. And then on each one, I'm putting a transfer on from the transfer set called Kitschy, which is sort of a retro transfer set. And when you put a transfer on, make sure to paint it and put a sealer on it, and then you put your transfer on it. And then you're going to take that plastic sheet and rub over it, and that's called burnishing it. And then you will go back later and seal it again. Next, I'm using DIY gold gilding wax up there at the top, and then I decide to go all around the edges of this. And I did not make these double-sided because I don't need them to be. But I put the gold gilding wax around the edges just to make it look more like it was a finished ornament. Next, I'm going to be hot gluing these on to the glass. And then once I get those glued on, then I'm going to use this, it looks like a little string of gold beads, and I got it from Hobby Lobby. And what I do is I just take my hot glue gun and just run it down, and I put that little bead on top, little string of beads on it. And then once I put them both on, then I realized the first one was a little bit crooked, so it was really easy to just pull it right off and redo it. And here's the finished project. So what do you think? So my next project, I'm going to be using the new mold called Christmas Tapers. And I'm actually going to just be doing the Santa's head, and I use hot glue on this one. So I'm going to let you just watch as I put this hot glue in. Because if you're going to use hot glue in one of your molds, it is so much easier if your glue guns are more of a higher temperature and it does not melt the mold at all. And I actually have two different glue guns. One has a small little nozzle and the other one is a little bit bigger. And then once it dries and begins to set up, then that's when you can see the little parts that you miss. So I just go back and I fill those in so that it is all finished on the back side. And then I'm going to use that hot glue and just go back and forth so that I can fill it all in till it's completely up to the edge on the back side. And it's really easy to do. It's a cheaper version than using resin. But I have to admit, when I use my glue gun, it's really hot. And so it really kind of heats up the room. So once it dries all the way, you just kind of push from that back side and you'll see how it becomes translucent. And that lets you know that it's ready. And if you see any parts that didn't get filled in, then just pop it back in the mold and put some more glue in it. So I start out by painting the little red hat with Waverly's chalk paint. And I'm not sure which color red it is. And then I'm going to paint the beard with Rust-Oleum linen white chalk paint. And I will paint the little ball on the hood of the Santa's hat and around the edges. And then I just use a different mix of paints to fill in that flesh color on Santa's face. And then I will go back and I just use a little bit of blue paint and I just make little dots on the eyes. Now, hot glue is really easy to paint, but I have to admit that the detail on it doesn't show up until you actually paint it. Now, these transfers come from the new transfer set called Yuletide. And I do know that this transfer set sold out very quickly. Now, I want to put part of or half of one on each side of this wooden hanger that I got, and I painted it white and I sealed it. And then I'm going to be using the Santa up at the top. Well, when I put only half of that transfer on, it just didn't look right. So then I had to cut out the second piece of that transfer and then finish off until it goes all the way to the edge. And then I use the little transfer stick, and IOD provides these in every transfer set that you buy. And it just makes it really easy for it to go on. Now, because I'm going to be using some gold on the Santa part, then on the hanger, I don't want it to be silver. So I just use some Titebond Thick and Quick, and I just wrap some just white ribbon around it to cover up that silver. Now, this is the mini bow dabber that you can get off of Amazon, and it makes it really easy to make little shabby bows. So I've got a piece of white ribbon going vertical, and then all of these little pieces I put horizontal, and you just slide it in between that little edge. And remember, whatever you put on the bottom is actually going to be the first ribbon that you see when you tie it up. And I just used some gold eyelash yarn and some white eyelash yarn and some white and red ribbon. And then once I'm happy with it, then there's a little stick that you push down right in the middle, and that pushes all of the ribbon together. And then I'm going to take that white ribbon that's going vertical, and I'm going to pull it up and then tie a knot in it, and then it's ready. And it makes making bows so easy. And they also make a larger bow dabber in case you like to make wreaths. So I hot glue that little ribbon on, or the little bow, and I kind of fluff it up just a little bit and separate both sides. And then I use a little bit of Titebond Thick and Quick to glue it down. And then I realize I probably am going to need a little bit more hot glue on it for that instant hold. So I had to take off some of that Titebond Thick and Quick, because wherever you use Titebond Thick and Quick, you cannot add hot glue to that. Now, before I show you, I'm going to be making some little ornaments to be hanging from this hanger. And this is a new mold that I got, and it's redesigned with Prima. And it has all of these little different cups and mug designs. So I'm using the ones that I think are more geared towards Santa, or use those sort of colors. So I pick out the one that has like a little part of the mold that's a deer. And if you've watched my channel, you know that I like everything that's deer. And then one of them says ho, ho, ho. And then the other one has Santa's face on it. So I paint them all white to start off with, because I've made them out of resin. And I went on and drilled the hole in them so I can hang them. But then this is the part that I just didn't do the best on. I am not an artist, and so I really struggle with putting color on my molds. So I don't think I do as great a job on painting these molds. But if you stand far enough away, then they look okay. But I just took my time and used little brushes, because these molds turned out to be just a little bit smaller than I anticipated. They're about the size of like a little espresso mug or espresso cup that you would get. And I just used the same basic colors on all three different little pieces. And then this is that glitter glue that comes out sort of a little bit silver and a little bit clear. And I use that over all of the top ones where like the whipped cream is and the little marshmallows, just to give it more of a glimmer so that it looks more holiday. And I let it dry overnight, because that glue takes a pretty good while to dry. And then after it's all dry, then I run some little small red gingham ribbon through it, and I hang it from this hanger. So I know that this is a little more unusual and not something that you might not necessarily think about, but just think about all the different things that you could hang from it. So if you're someone that likes to hang your Christmas cards that you get in the mail, this would be another way that you could hang your Christmas cards. And it's something that you can use year after year. Now, the next little hangers that I'm going to show you are actually going to be the ones that I use for my grandchildren. So I'm using just the quick casting resin, and I'm going to pour 2 Santas and 2 of the little sparkly tapers on that particular one. And I used some hot glue, and I just made like a little bridge on it so that the resin wouldn't flow down into the rest of the taper. And the reason I'm making these for my grandchildren is every year we always buy the Christmas pajamas for only the grandkids. The adults don't wear them. And so they know that on Christmas Eve, when they come to Grammy's house, that they have to go back in the bedroom and change into their pajamas. And so this year, I wanted to have a special hanger to have them, hanging from, instead of just sitting on the bed. So for the 2 boys, I made a Santa. And for the 2 girls, then I used the little sparkly taper that what my granddaughters think look like a wand. And I actually painted them with Rust-Oleum Blush Pink. And you'll see that in just a minute. And I did the same thing with these little hangers. I put ribbons on it, and then I glued those little resin molds to it. Now on the Santas, I tried really hard not to make it use any glitter or any kind of frou-frou because, well, the boys wouldn't want me to. But on the girls, when I painted those pink, then after I put that second coat on, then I sprinkled on some glitter. And I know that I use diamond dust a lot on my like holiday pieces, but because that is glass and it can cut you, and this is something that the granddaughters will be, using, I did not want to use that. So I just used glitter. And remember, glitter doesn't have to be put on with glue. If you put that second coat of paint on and then you sprinkle it on, it's going to stick. And then on this one, the ribbons that I used were a little bit more sparkly and shiny. So I'm super excited, and I'm going to keep them hidden until Christmas because my grandchildren don't watch my videos because they're so young. And so they'll be really surprised that Grammy made them a hanger just for their Christmas pajamas. So if you do Christmas pajamas at your house, especially for grandchildren, this is just something fun to make them. And I just think about all the different possibilities. You could make one, for the first day of school and put like a little apple on it. And you can just make these little hangers for all sorts of occasions. And also remember, if you have someone that is going to be a bride, this would be a really neat hanger for your bride to hang her wedding dress on. So what do you think? Now, I'm showing you several different DIYs, using mostly Santas for my DIYs. And next week, I will be having part 2 of my Santa videos, where I will be using some different Santas and doing some bigger pieces. So make sure to be watching for that video. So if you enjoyed the video today, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe to my channel. And also know that I have a Facebook page called Farm Fresh Designs. And I do live videos on that, and I do different projects than what I share on YouTube. So make sure to go find me on Facebook and follow me on Facebook, and you'll be able to see those lives. And even if you can't catch it when I do the live video, you can always watch the replay. And I get all of my decoupage paper and my IOD from Decoupage Central. So I will share the affiliate links for these products in the description box below. And as we speak, a lot of the molds are still available, but a lot of the transfers are already gone. So if you want to get any of the Christmas products, make sure to go ahead and get them because they'll be a limited release. And so once they're gone, then yes, you probably can find them on Etsy, but they're going to be a lot more expensive. And friends, I am inching really close to having 10,000 subscribers, and I would love to make it by the end of the year. So if you haven't subscribed to my channel, but you've watched me before and you just haven't hit that subscribe button, make sure to do that and help me get toward my goal of 10,000 subscribers. And also make sure to hit the notification button so that YouTube will notify you whenever I put a video up. So once again, make sure to like and subscribe to my channel and become part of our family. And I will see you in my next video. Thank you.